Hi everyone, welcome to 𝗖𝗵𝗵𝗺 and we are discussing general microbiology. This is class 4th with your microbiology faculty and mentor Dr. 𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗺. We are discussing bacterial growth. I wish all the people who are watching this video to grow and achieve beautiful heights in their life and be positive, be strong, be happy. Bacteria also wants to grow. So this is the class where we will focus about the growth of the bacteria. See, this bacterial growth is a part of physiology, right? Bacterial physiology. Now, let's understand one by one bacterial growth curve. Okay, I'll remove all these things. Yeah, let's understand about the growth curve. So, remember, my dear friends, that the growth curve is consisting of growth in terms of number of bacteria in the y-axis, and on the x-axis you have got the time. So, time on the by the time how much the bacteria is multiplying is the bacterial growth curve. So, you have got 4 phases in the bacterial growth. First one is the lag phase, second one is the log phase, third one is the stationary phase, and then the decline phase. Lag phase, this one, the faster growing one, log phase, stationary phase, and decline phase. So, understand alphabetically also A comes before O. So, that is why, okay, I'll rewrite. The lag phase is going to come before the log phase, and then comes the stationary phase. So, sorry, then comes the stationary phase and then the decline phase. What does this mean? What all these phases are? Let us understand one by one. Lag phase, LAG. Pick that A. And remember that lag phase is also called as the phase of adaptation. Adaptation. I want to adapt. So, you have to be prepared. So, lag phase, adaptation phase is also called as preparedness phase. First of all, if a population wants to grow, say for example, you want to grow, bacteria wants to grow, everybody has to adapt, prepare themselves. And if I am preparing, for example, I want to go to Manali or say in southern India, where should I go? Let's say Ooty. So, I have to prepare myself with a lot of clothes, the toiletries, everything with me. So, my size is going to get increased. My number is like that only, but my size is going to increase. What I want you to understand is that in the lag phase, when the bacteria is in the phase of adaptation, in the phase of preparation, the bacterial size is going to get increased. But there will be no multiplication, the bacteria is not going to increase in numbers. Okay, there is no multiplication. Now, why it is important for you as a doctor? Because if you are using the group of antibiotics which are going to target the multiplication of bacteria, sorry my dear friends, you are using the wrong antibiotic, because my bacteria is not dividing in the lag phase. Antibiotics on dividing bacteria are ineffective in lag phase, because in lag phase my bacteria is not dividing, my dear friends. Coming on to log phase, that's why it is not dividing. That's why, can you see the number of bacteria is like this, it's not changing. Number of bacteria is not changing in the lag phase, whereas in log phase it is going to increase and increase. This is the lag phase, this is the log phase. Okay, you got it? So, log phase, O for other bacteria formation. What is O? O for other bacteria formation. What is other bacteria formation? That means now it is going to form other bacteria. That means now it is going to multiply. The number is going to increase with the formula exponential growth, 2 raised to the power n in the log phase. So, this is an ideal phase to check for the morphology and biochemistry of the bacteria. So, bio has O, morpho has O, log has O. So, now you can remember that in order to check for morphology, in order to check for biochemistry, you are going to use which phase? Log phase. And because it is multiplying, my dear friends, this is the time when we check that if the bacteria is susceptible to antibiotics or not. What does this mean? This means that if the bacteria is susceptible to antibiotics, means if for example, okay, this is my culture plate and the yellow ones are my bacteria growing, and what I did, I put two antibiotics. One is ampicillin, other one is amoxicillin. They are going to kill the bacteria, but can you see that ampicillin has killed more bacteria than amoxicillin? That means it is highly susceptible to, bacteria are highly susceptible to ampicillin rather than amoxicillin. They are getting killed by ampicillin more than amoxicillin. This is called as antibiotic susceptibility testing, also called as antibiogram, which you are going to obtain in the log phase. See again, antibiotic O coming again, log phase. Then stationary phase. Why the population becomes stationary? Because the rate of production is equal to rate of death. Why it is happening? In India, can you see, in India our population is growing. So by the time the nutrition is going to get decreased, we can't produce that much amount of crops. So the nutrition is going to decrease. The wastage, can you see, the garbage, the e-waste, the kitchen waste, the disposal waste, everything is increasing. That means the toxins are going to increase. So nutrients are going to decrease, the toxins are going to accumulate. That is why the rate of production now will be equal to the rate of death. Then how bacteria will survive? Bacteria doesn't want to die. Bacteria wants to survive. How? So what are these survival mechanisms? Remember, the survival of fittest. My dear boys and girls who are sitting in front of me, I want you to be fittest, mentally, physically, emotionally fittest, because this is the time where the one who is fittest is going to survive. Similarly, my bacteria, my cute little bacteria, my sweet little potato bacteria is going to teach you how to survive, but not in literal sense, because bacteria, as the survival, first of all undergoes reproduction, please. Okay, so the first thing is asexual reproduction, that is sporulation, the first thing that bacteria does. Second is granules. Nowadays in some northern parts of India, there are a lot of floods coming. So what people are doing to increase the survival, they are increasing the storage of grains, nutrients, right, food substances. So similarly, bacteria also produces storage granules, right, storage granules. And just like for example, a bacteria very well known to form the storage granules is diphtheria. Okay, and then you have got one more, that is called as exotoxins, to defend. Okay, if somebody is going to attack the bacteria is going to defend with the help of exotoxins. Now bacteria does one more thing also. Bacteria starts killing its own people, my dear friends. Bacteria starts releasing bacteriocins that are going to kill the other bacteria. So once this fight was happening, bacteria was releasing bacteriocin, killing its own people. I went there, I put gram stain on them, and when I put gram stain on them, half of the bacteria were lightly stained, half were darkly stained. So the darkly stained were the live ones who took the bacterial gram stain, but the ones who were dead, they didn't take. So gram stain showed differentially stained bacteria, light stain dead, dark stain alive. This is the harsh reality of stationary phase. Coming on to decline phase. Now what is decline phase? Decline phase is the dead phase. Decline phase, dead phase, it is the phase where the death is more than the growth. Why? Because the nutrients are finished, the toxic metabolites are increased. That's why there is decline. One more very important thing which was seen in bacteria. So bacteria is something from which you can learn a lot. Have you heard this, that even initially the cactus plants used to have leaves, but as an adaptation they started having spines. Similarly, my cute little bacteria, which is devoid of their original shape, my cute little bacteria changes its shape. Why? In order to get the survival. My cute little bacteria changes the shape, which is called as involution forms. It becomes filamentous, it becomes 𝗏𝗏𝗴𝗍𝗃 in order to increase the survival. So they ask you this question, what is involution form? So remember, involution form is the bacteria becoming filamentous or becoming 𝗏𝗏𝗴𝗍𝗃 to increase the survival. Next important question, what is generation time? Generation time means the bacteria is going to multiply, how much time the bacteria is going to take in order to multiply. That means one parent giving rise to 2 further, and then 2 going to give rise to 4 further. Okay, this is one generation, so the time will be one generation time. How to remember? E. coli is early. So remember E for early, taking hardly 20 minutes. Mycobacterium leprae is longest, taking longest time 2 weeks. Not in the literal sense, I am just telling you about these 3 examples, E. coli, TB and leprae. Okay, it is not longest. Okay, so you can remember that leprae takes longer time, around 2 weeks. E. coli is early, takes 20 minutes, and tuberculosis is having 20 hours. Tuberculosis is 20 hours. Okay. What are the growth requirements of bacteria? So the growth requirements of bacteria are oxygen, pH, temperature, nutrition, environment. You can remember with the help of a mnemonic TEMPO. T for temperature, environment, nutrition, pH, oxygen. Let's discuss one by one. First of all, we will discuss about the oxygen. So my dear friends, we have got some organisms who are obligate aerobe. Obligate means, okay, yeah. So obligate means compulsory. Obligate means compulsory, they are aerobes, they need oxygen, just like tuberculosis. My dear children, let me use this piece of information to increase your knowledge that TB always prefers the upper lobe of the lungs, because upper lobe of the lungs is richest in oxygen. It requires oxygen. What are the other examples? You can remember lab. Our labs, chemistry lab, having a lot of oxygen. So lab, LAB, Legionella, Anthracis, Brucella, all of them are going to grow there. And see, normally what used to happen, the free radicals, because obviously bacteria is going to have a lot of metabolism, and a lot of metabolism is going to have the generation of a lot of free radicals that was being generated in bacteria. So these free radicals were killing that bacteria. So what bacteria did? Bacteria started producing superoxide dismutase and catalase. These both enzymes, superoxide dismutase and catalase, were produced, and these converted this free radical to oxygen, and this byproduct oxygen was being used by the obligate aerobe. I am repeating, normally free radicals used to kill the bacteria, so bacteria synthesized superoxide dismutase and catalase, which in the end converted this free radical to oxygen, and this oxygen was being used by obligate aerobe. Coming on to the next part, obligate anaerobes. Okay, yes, which is your favorite IPL team? Just let me know in the comment section. Everybody was here. Yes, 𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗴𝗿𝗺, Chennai, yeah. So Fab Chennai is the mnemonic in order to understand anaerobes. Chennai has N and A coming. So N and A is AN, anaerobes. So Fab Chennai means FABC, that is Fusobacterium, Actinomyces, Bacteroides, Clostridium. All these are examples of obligate anaerobe, my dear friends. Obligate means compulsory. Anaerobes means compulsory, devoid of oxygen. That means they cannot survive in oxygen. They don't want oxygen. No oxygen, my dear friends. Fab Chennai. Chennai is already fab. They don't require more oxygen now. Okay. Coming on to facultative. Facultative means I can survive in aerobic material. I can survive in aerobic area. Okay. Facultative aerobe. And you know what? Facultative means I can survive. I can survive if I am not having oxygen. I can survive if I am having oxygen. I am okay. So they can survive in both the circumstances. They can change their requirements as per the circumstances. And my dear friends, change is only constant. Please remember this for entire of your life. They can survive. That's why they are safe. And safe is my mnemonic. S for Salmonella, 𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗴𝗿. I'm not wearing the blue bracelet, but then S for Salmonella, 𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗴𝗍. E for E. coli. A and F for aerobes or anaerobes, but facultative. Okay. So how do? They use oxygen if available, but if not, then they switch to fermentation if oxygen is absent. Okay, this is facultative. Coming on to two more, microaerophilic. Micro means small amount. Aero means oxygen, philic means love. So micro means small, aero means oxygen, philic means love. So they love oxygen but in a lower concentration. And remember, the mnemonic is MLC. Mnemonic is MLC. And MLC is a horror for every doctor. MLC is a horror, my dear friend. So the mnemonic is MLC horror. So M for Mycobacterium bovis, L for leptospira, C for Clostridium jejuni, H for H. pylori. These are microaerophilic. Coming on to aerotolerant anaerobes. Aero means oxygen, tolerant means I can tolerate, anaerobes, that means I am a lover of oxygen. Oh God, so difficult. But don't worry, Micromath Sutra, Dr. Perf is with you, for you, ever, forever. Aerotolerant anaerobes. Aero means oxygen tolerant. I can tolerate oxygen. I can survive in oxygen. But because by nature I am anaerobe, I will multiply only if I am having oxygen. So I can survive without oxygen, but I cannot multiply without oxygen. I need oxygen to multiply, but I can survive without oxygen, no problem. This is aerotolerant anaerobe. They prefer to multiply in oxygen. Prefer, I am using this word prefer, that means perfringens. So Clostridium perfringens, okay, is the mnemonic to remember the Clostridium perfringens. Coming on to the next part based on pH, remember acidic, neutral, alkaline. And acidic, just like lactic acid bacteria, lactobacillus, that survives in vagina because vaginal pH is 4.5, too acidic, okay. That's why lactic acid bacteria grow there. And you know, it is very important for the lactic acid bacilli to grow in vagina because lactic acid bacilli are good bacteria. Okay, why? Because they don't allow other bacteria to grow. Other means bad bacteria. Okay, that's why lactic acid bacillus is very important. Coming on to neutral. So neutral has got E, that is E. coli. So E. coli is a fan of neutral pH. In fact, the majority of bacteria, they are going to grow in the neutral pH only. Coming on to the alkaline pH, Vibrio cholera. So A, B, C mnemonic, A for alkaline, B for basic, C for cholera, alkaline, basic, cholera. Okay, so Vibrio cholera prefers to grow in alkaline pH. Coming on to the temperature. So remember, you have got three things: psychrophile, mesophile, thermophile. This is the temperature. So I am discussing the growth requirements, and in the growth requirements, temperature is also a requirement for the bacteria. Psychrophile means they just need temperature till 20. So all the environmental bacteria, they are going to grow in this temperature only. Then comes meso, again E is coming, E. coli 25 to 40. Thermophile, oh God, thermophile. They are habitual of growing in more than 55 to 80 degrees Celsius. Example is 𝗲𝗄𝗃bacillus. See, geo means earth. Earth has got a high temperature. Okay. So 𝗲𝗄𝗃bacillus, the one which is growing in the earth, 𝗲𝗄𝗃bacillus. Sterothermophilus, thermo means temperature. Philus means love. They love the higher temperature. 𝗲𝗄𝗃bacillus sterothermophilus. So we use them. Oh my God. How do you use them, sir? Do you know there is a machine which is called as autoclave? We use this autoclave machine at 50 degrees Celsius. Some are operated at 60 degree, some are operated at 70 degree, some are operated at 80 degree. More the temperature, more is the 𝗲𝗄𝗃bacillus sterothermophilus because it loves higher temperature. So more of 𝗲𝗄𝗃bacillus started growing there. That is why the quality control agent in autoclave is 𝗲𝗄𝗃bacillus sterothermophilus. 𝗲𝗄𝗃bacillus sterothermophilus. Coming on to environment, some like higher pressures, barophilic, some like dry things, environment, some some prefer to live in dry states. Anyways, xerophiles, some are halophiles, salty, Samundar mein naha ke, that's a song, Hindi song, leave it. So salty environments, halophiles, salty. So salty, you can remember, you can remember salty. So S and A, S for Staph aureus, okay, or you can remember very salty, we can Vibrio, okay. So these are the examples. So see here, very salty, Vibrio, salty, Staph aureus. Vibrio grows in Ganga. Ganga water is salty, Ganga water is alkaline. So you can remember Vibrio, alkaline and salty water. Capnophile. So capnophile is P for pneumonia. So Streptococcus pneumoniae, okay, and N for Neisseria. Can you see here? P for pneumonia, N for Neisseria, okay. So they are capnophile. They want to live in high carbon dioxide environment, okay, great. Bacterial nutrition, whoa, that's a superb topic, vital important topic. Bacterial nutrition, what does that mean? My dear friends, bacterial nutrition means it is chemo-organo-heterotroph. Chemo-organo-heterotroph means bacteria wants to live on chemicals. But which chemicals? Organic chemicals. Are they autotrophs? No, they are heterotrophs. They want to feed on automatically synthesized, I mean external source they are going to use for feeding. So organic chemicals like urea, like iron. So iron is a chemical and Fe, and it is an organic chemical. So they want to grow on chemicals like urea and organic chemicals like iron, heterotroph. That means they are not going to synthesize, they are just going to feed on them, okay. So for example, iron is essential for the growth of bacteria. But my dear friends, our body is very clever. What my body does is, it increases the iron but keeps it in storage forms. Just like your mama. What our mothers do? A lot of money they are going to keep in the safe. Similarly, our body increases the iron but keep it in the safer form, in the storage form. Just like iron sequestration is done in ferritin form. That is the storage form. That means it will not be available for the bacteria, and bacteria can't survive in the body, okay. This is it. Next, some may require urea, again an organic chemical. So these bacteria have got urease. So these are urease positive, just like H. pylori, if you know. So H. pylori, it is urease positive. It is going to form a lot of urea, and because it is going to form a lot of urea, whenever H. pylori is there in your body, your breath has a smell of urea, and this is called as urea breath test positive. H. pylori is urea breath test positive. So how I remember? Remember like this: uri pylori, uri pylori. So H. pylori is having urea. Okay, clear? Okay. Coming on to the next part, the catalase positive. Okay, catalase positive. So catalase positive, the mnemonic is SPACE: Staph, Pseudomonas, Acinetobacter, Candida, Enterobacter, where Candida is a fungus. So these are catalase positive. They require catalase enzyme for their growth. So this is all about the growth. I just want you to grow, and we in our entire team are with you to make you grow and to make you a very successful person, okay. We just want you to write down your blessings, love and support in comment section, and please follow our advices and grow and achieve superb heights in the future. Thank you.